You think Christmas in the 1960s and 70s was just like today with less technology? Not even close. These post-war decades delivered some of the most unusual, nostalgic, and downright dangerous holiday decorations in American history. From glittering metal trees that looked like they crash-landed from a spaceship, to toxic tinsel made from to real burning candles clipped onto dried-out evergreen branches. Most of these 25 Christmas traditions have completely vanished from modern life, and by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why they disappeared, and which ones we desperately need to bring back. But here's what really shocked me during my research. 3 of these decorations were so hazardous that fire departments launched nationwide campaigns begging families to stop using them. And yet, people kept them on their trees well into the 1970s. Stick around to find out which ones, and why nostalgia was more powerful than safety. Alright, let's start with something that'll hit different if you're over 50. Putz Villages, handmade miniature Christmas worlds that families built themselves using cardboard, paper, and plaster. You'd spend entire weekends creating landscapes under the tree using crumpled newspaper for hills, cotton batting for snow, and mirrors for frozen ponds. Some families built displays that filled entire rooms with multiple villages connected by roads and miniature railways, but storage and fragility killed it. By the 1980s, ceramic villages were more practical. What we lost was building something together, year after year. Lionel and American Flyer serious model railroading equipment that cost $30 to $50 in 1960s money, like $250 to $400 today. That moment when the headlight flickered on, when you heard that first chug-chug-chug, pure childhood wonder. By the 1980s, video games replaced mechanical toys that required setup and imagination. Horn-shaped ornaments filled with actual food, walnuts, candies, tiny toys that you hung on your tree for weeks. On Christmas morning, children would empty them discovering surprises. What killed it? Hanging food items on a heated tree for weeks. Mice, insects. By the 1970s, families switched to empty decorative versions, which removed the entire point. Individually hand-blown by German craftsmen, birds, deer, rabbits with textured surfaces and hand-painted features, families collected these over years. Kids had favorites that carried memories. The problem? Incredibly fragile. Drop one, gone forever. By the 1980s, cheaper plastic ornaments flooded the market. What we lost was curating a collection over a lifetime, each piece irreplaceable. One tiny problem: celluloid is incredibly flammable. Get one too close to a candle or hot bulb, and it would literally burst into flames. Fire safety organizations hated them, probably for the best we stopped decorating with tiny fire bombs. Spun glass fibers draped over trees created ethereal glowing effects. The problem? Unbearably itchy. Handling it left your hands covered in glass particles that itched for hours. Plus, it was a fire hazard. Most people under 50 have never seen it, which is probably for the best. Made from dyed goose feathers attached to wire branches. That sparseness was intentional, designed to display ornaments without hiding them. By the 1950s, fuller artificial trees made them seem outdated. We traded craftsmanship for fullness. Families routinely sent 50 to 150 handwritten cards annually. Mom handled addressing, dad signed, children stamped. Cards received got displayed prominently, strung along mantles. The number demonstrated your social standing. By the 1990s, postage costs rose, email arrived, then social media. What we lost was holding someone's handwriting, displaying their thoughtfulness. Families clipping real burning candles onto dried trees well into the 1970s. Someone always stood watch with a bucket of water, ready to smother flames. When it worked, genuinely beautiful. Candlelight flickering through needles, the room smelling like pine sap and beeswax and controlled danger. Fire departments hated this tradition. Was it dangerous? Absolutely. Was it magical? Also yes. Glass tubes filled with methylene chloride sealed above bulbs. When heated, liquid boiled, sending colored bubbles rising in mesmerizing motion. Carl Otis invented them in 1946. Kids would gather around, watching impatiently for that first bubble. By the 1980s, they looked dated. What we lost was watching chemistry made visible. Families spent afternoons transforming evergreens using aerosol foam. You'd lay tarps, open windows, wear old clothes. The material got everywhere: floors, walls, hair, lungs. But the result? A tree that looked pulled from a snow-covered forest. By the 1980s, pre-flocked artificial trees ended the chemical warfare. Lead tinsel had weight and structure. Each strand hung independently, creating cascading waterfall effects. Families saved and reused them year after year, storing them between tissue paper. By 1972, the Consumer Product Safety Commission banned it. They're right, it looks better, but they are describing toxic heavy metal decorations. Families spent evenings cutting colored paper, forming loops, pasting ends together. The paste had this distinctive sweet smell that became tied to Christmas preparation. These embodied post-war values about thrift and togetherness. By the 1980s, cheap plastic garlands made handmade versions seem unnecessary. Colorful stickers with proceeds funding TB research. Families applied seals to every piece of holiday mail. Pennies each made charitable giving accessible to everyone. Receiving decorated mail signaled the sender cared enough to contribute to fighting disease. Modern Americans barely remember they existed. Stores had to close by noon or early afternoon on Christmas Eve. By early afternoon, commerce stopped completely. You went home because there was literally nothing else to do. This forced proximity created traditions, cookie baking, present wrapping, church services. By the 1990s, blue laws were repealed. The forced family time vanished. When 40% of American adults smoked, cigarettes occupied prominent space in gift-giving. Cartons came in special holiday wrapping, department stores featured displays, TV commercials featured Santa recommending brands. The 1970s brought health awareness. By the 1980s, it seemed tone-deaf. Today, unthinkable. Okay, we're in the top 9. This is it, the decoration in millions of homes until one cartoon character changed everything. Picture a tree that looked like it crash-landed from a spacecraft. Aluminum trees hit the market in 1958. By 1965, they were everywhere, actual aluminum foil strips attached to wire branches. The catch? You couldn't use regular lights. Families bought rotating color wheels that shifted your tree from red to blue to green in hypnotic cycles. They cost $25 in 1965, maybe $250 today. They represented space-age optimism. Then December 1965, a Charlie Brown Christmas aired. Charlie Brown rejects aluminum trees for a sad little real tree. Linus gives his speech about what Christmas really means. Almost overnight, aluminum trees became symbols of commercialized Christmas. Sales collapsed. By 1970, manufacturers stopped making them. One TV special killed an entire industry. Roughly 1950 to 1975, you could walk up to a stranger's house after dark, ring the bell, start singing. People would be happy to see you. The best part, people would invite you inside. Complete strangers would open doors to 15 people and say, "Come in, have cookies and cider." This represented suburban idealism, the belief that neighbors should know each other, that you could trust people on your street. By the late 1970s, that trust was eroding. Strangers after dark became threatening instead of festive. Fruitcake was genuinely thoughtful. Standard fruitcakes weighed 3 to 5 pounds, dense with candied fruits and nuts soaked with brandy or rum. Preparation took weeks. Good ones cost $15 to $20 in 1970s money, maybe $100 today. Then the 1980s hit. Fruitcake became America's most joked about food. Johnny Carson made jokes. The cultural consensus flipped from thoughtful gift to garbage nobody wants. Reality, good fruitcake made properly is genuinely delicious, but cheap supermarket versions ruined it. Well-dressed women wore small floral arrangements pinned to coats and dresses. Florists created specific Christmas designs, pine bow clusters, poinsettia blooms, holly berries. Wearing one signaled effort, femininity, and holiday spirit. Flowers lasted 1 to 3 days before wilting. By the 1980s, casual fashion took over. Corsages seemed old-fashioned and fussy. Employers handed workers small envelopes containing actual cash. Bosses distributed them personally with handshakes and conversations. Hourly workers got $25 to $100. Salaried employees got a week's pay or more. You could hold it, show your spouse, decide together how to use it. Modern HR replaced personal cash with impersonal deposits and email notifications. The tangible recognition is gone. Downtown stores competed, creating spectacular animated displays, drawing crowds to press noses against glass. Windows told stories using mechanical figures. Santa's workshop with moving elves, Victorian scenes, fantasy landscapes. Families made special evening trips. Kids stood transfixed watching sequences repeat. By the 1980s, suburban malls killed downtown districts. It's now a tourist attraction rather than common experience. Individual metallic strands, designed to hang from branches like icicles. They came in boxes containing hundreds of individual strands that you'd hang one by one across the tree. The best icicles were made from aluminum or silver-coated plastic that had enough weight to hang straight without clumping. You drape each strand over a branch tip, spacing them evenly throughout the tree to create a shimmering, icy effect. When done carefully, it looked like your tree was covered in frozen water that caught and reflected every light. The process was tedious and time-consuming. It could take hours to properly apply icicles to a full-size tree. And at the end of the season, many families would carefully remove them for reuse, which took even longer. The alternative was throwing them away, which felt wasteful when they cost several dollars per box. Before Amazon, the Sears Christmas catalog landed in September, weighing over 2 pounds. Kids fought over it, studying every page like sacred text. The toy section was 50 to 100 pages of pure possibility: Barbie dream houses, Hot Wheels tracks, baby dolls, model trains. Each item had photos, descriptions, and prices, kids calculated to the penny. The catalog's arrival marked something real. Christmas was coming. Start thinking, start making your case. Anticipation built for 3 solid months. Sears stopped printing it in 1993. For kids who grew up with it, the wish book represented organized dreaming that Amazon's infinite inventory can't replicate. Long metallic strands that wound around Christmas trees in loose spirals, catching light and creating movement with every slight air current. Tinsel garland was different from the individual icicle strands. These came in continuous lengths, often 6 or 8 feet long, made from metallic plastic that twisted and reflected light. The garland came in traditional silver and gold, but also in colors red, green, blue, even pink. You'd wind it around the tree in loose spirals, starting at the top and working down, letting it drape naturally between branches. When done well, it created this flowing, elegant effect that unified the whole tree. The garland caught every bit of light from your Christmas bulbs, creating this shimmering, almost liquid appearance that made the entire tree seem to glow. These traditions represent a completely different approach to Christmas, one that prioritized physical craftsmanship over convenience, social interaction over digital communication. Some deserved to die. Real candles and lead tinsel were genuinely hazardous. But others disappeared because modern life values efficiency over experience. If you grew up with any of these, you're part of the last generation that will remember them firsthand.